Five, four, three. Yes, we are live now.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us this Friday afternoon. This is Chak Day Friday with Anirban Bhattacharya. आप पता है नाम काफी लंबा है. शॉर्टकट में आप मुझे ए बी करके भी पुकार सकते हैं. It's great to be on Gen S Live, which is an app for the 60 plus community, where there's health experts, there's finance experts, there's lots of entertainment. And every Friday, this is my session about trying to give motivation to people because we always face challenges in life, all of us, and it's always good to share your problems so that you don't feel like you're fighting this battle on your own, but you've got company and you've got support. So welcome to Chak Day Friday with me Anirban, and हमारे साथ आज है सुनीता जी. Sunita ji, namaskar. Thank you so much for joining. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. This is the first time I'm joining Chak Day Friday, and yeah, I'm a homemaker in Malad.
Which is in
We
Mumbai.
yeah, in Mumbai. My husband and I stay here. He has also retired, so we are living the retired life, and we have a son who's studying in Germany. So yeah, we
So,
keep ourselves busy uh, doing, my husband is interested in the stock market, so he keeps active in that. And I don't have a maid now, so I keep busy with all the house work, which I quite enjoy doing.
yeah, it's important to be physically fit and active.
Yes, so I take it as a form of exercise. So I'm
Absolutely.
putting off finding a new maid so far. Let's see how how long I
वो
can do
कोविड
it.
के दिन याद आ जाते हैं हम सबको कोविड के दिन याद आ जाते हैं जब हम सब
Don't.
मिलके झाड़ू कटका
Barabar.
बर्तन सब हम ही करते थे. And it
True,
wasn't
true.
bad. It wasn't that bad,
No,
when the
it
COVID
wasn't.
started, we used to think, अरे यार हम तो पगला जाएंगे. But in the end, it was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, there were a
So
lot of new things to enjoy, and without the
yeah,
maid and cooking on your own. And
yeah, it was.
yeah,
It's
it was a
always
crazy
important to
time.
find, the positives in the negatives.
Right.
It's always important to do that. So
Yeah.
great. What is your son studying, and where is he in Germany?
He's doing his operational excellence after working for a few years. He did his engineering from Chennai, worked for some years, and decided to do this course. So he wants to find a job over there. Uh, yeah, so the university is in Eastern Bavaria. It's a place called Hof.
Right.
And yeah, so he's right now doing his internship with Continental and hopes to find a job in Germany.
All
Yeah.
the best to him.
Thank you so
All the
much.
very, very best to him. So
Thanks
let
so
me
much.
tell you, it's the first time you're joining us today, or every Friday we discuss lots of real life issues and challenges that we face.
Okay.
Whether it's you know trying to find tasks that may keep us busy, और not to get demotivated, क्योंकि
Mhm.
60 के बाद एक नैरेटिव शुरू हो जाता है. हमारे सोसाइटी जो है वो काफी एजेस्ट है, और 60 के बाद as soon as you retire there is a narrative that goes on saying अरे 60 हो गया, रिटायरमेंट हो गया, अब क्या बचा है लाइफ में, अरे अब तो
Mm.
you should relax at your age, अरे
Mm.
auntie uncle, and then let the young ones do the work. So
Mm.
we get pressurized to then lead a sedentary life, which often lacks meaning
Mm.
and lacks a purpose. And then वही जो lack of purpose होता है वही हमें डिप्रेस कर देता है. Then we thinking, what are we
Mm.
doing with our life? You know, oh, and we are so lonely and we are so demotivated and all of that. So every Friday, we have sessions where we talk about one aspect or the other. और आज जो है, I'm going to talk about the art of emotional closure. जो एक
Okay.
closure होता है. I'm going to hopefully try and see whether we can see the light at the end of the tunnel called emotional closure. So, all our lives, and especially seniors, you have led a life which has been full of laughter, challenges, uh, more importantly, stories and incidents. And as we sort of journey through our later years, there's one gift that we can give ourselves, which is called closure. Now, if I give you, say, 10 seconds, and I tell you, name me 5 people whom you really love, will you be able to tell me? Okay. Tell me quickly, and your time starts now. You have 10 seconds. Go.
Son,
Who do you,
husband, two sisters, and a friend.
and a friend. Now, see, husband, son, 2 sisters, and a friend. Where are you? You
Ah,
don't love yourself? You don't love yourself? और यही गलती जो है, we always make,
yeah, oh gosh.
all of us, we always make, because we don't love ourselves, or we forget that we exist, that we need caring as well. Agar, when you fly, one of my favorite examples is when you fly and the air hostess explains to you about oxygen mask. वो कहते हैं कि when there's a turbulence, when the oxygen mask drops, take care of yourself first and then put it on the baby. बचपन में I used to think कि अरे यार, this is really selfish, this is so cruel, you're letting the
Hmm.
baby suffer. Much later I realized that why are they saying it? If I as an adult am not okay and fully functional, how will I take care of the baby? So therefore, take care of yourself first and then take care of the others, right? So therefore, in the same way, we must learn and acknowledge that we ourselves also need love and caring. So if somebody says, who do you love? In the next 5 seconds, you must start off with, I love my son, my husband, and me. I love myself as well so that I can take care of myself. So we're going
True.
to talk about, closure today. Emotional closure with, friends, relatives, family, you know, uh, sometimes it's very difficult to find closure, but it's not about erasing the past. A lot of the times we think that, oh, finding emotional closure, it's like erasing the past. It's not about that. It's about making peace with it, right? And it's not about, trying to say, oh, you've done this to me and therefore I shall hold it completely against you. That's not the way it should be, you know. Today I'm going to hopefully share why closure matters and the steps to find it, and how forgiveness, empathy, and compassion, it can sort of light the way. And I'm going to hopefully, um, sort of journey on this, both of us together, and see what comes at the end of it. So, we've all had relationships, that have sort of left loose ends, so to speak. Words have been unsaid, apologies unoffered, or hurt unhealed. And the most strange thing is time slips by faster now, isn't it? You think that,
Mhm.
oh shit, time is moving, but it's never too late to tie those loose ends and to find peace before the sunset. I'm going to ask you. This is a very safe space, Sunita ji. So you can choose, to be, divulge information or personal things if you are comfortable with it. Do you have unresolved issues with someone? It could be a husband, your son, where there is no closure. Are there people in your life with whom you don't have closure? You feel
Hmm.
there are?
Yes.
Okay. And you've been carrying this, let's just call it baggage. This
Hmm.
baggage, you've been extra baggage, you've been, hurting yourself with actually for a while. Is it?
Yep.
It's been
Yep.
years. So how many years are we talking
Yes.
about?
Mm. So 20 plus years.
Wow. Wow. You've been carrying this baggage for 20 years. Your back must be hurting. And inside and inside that that baggage has become rotten by now because you've held it so for so long and you're thinking, oh, when I shall have my comeback, when I shall have
Yes.
my revenge, you know?
Hello?
Yeah, yeah. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been thinking, mera time kab aayega? When will I, get to give payback? And
Hmm.
and you've been holding on to it. So it's not healthy, and it's not healthy. I know it's very easy for somebody else to sit from the outside and tell you, how easy it is to forgive and to find closure, but only you can do it. You know, we can just merely advise you to do that. And of course, every challenge has its own, uh, you know,
Hmm.
limitations to it, or it's very, very personal, right? It's subjective. So what may
Yes.
appear to me as very small may appear to you as this huge mountain of guilt or regret that you've been carrying on your back for the last 20 years. So it's very subjective. But you know the one thing that I can assure you of is that you need to find emotional closure. And
Hmm.
especially because this is a session for seniors. I would describe it, and however cheesy it may sound, think of your being or your existence like a garden, right? It's like a garden, and unresolved emotions are like weeds. How weeds sort of choke the vegetation, choke the flowers, and all of that. The same weeds that you have allowed to grow for the past 20 years have choked your
Hmm.
happiness, your peace of mind, and your love, right? Without closure, we
Hmm.
carry
Hmm.
burdens that get heavier with every year. You know, I
Hmm.
remember my friend's grandmother, who at 82, okay, still
Hmm.
harbored resentment towards a sister of hers who'd borrowed money decades ago and never gave it back. So,
Okay.
when I asked her, I said, why didn't you let it go?
Hmm.
Why did you keep holding on to it? And she said, because my sister never said sorry. Now, she held on, her ego held on to the fact that one, her sister had taken money from her and had not returned. So therefore she felt cheated. Two was the fact that the sister, she was expecting the sister, if she was unable to pay her back, then she should have the decency to come and say, sorry, I can't pay you back, both of which did not happen. Now, the unfortunate thing is she carried that weed until her last breath, and she never
Hmm.
got to, sort of get an emotional closure with her sister. And how easy it would have been. How easy, you know, at 82, have a conversation with your sister and say, listen, this is why I have been upset with you. The least you could have done is told me that you can't pay me back and that you're sorry, and things would have moved on, and I forgive you. You are my sister, you know. We share the same blood. And whatever is the difficulty that you face, whether you chose deliberately not to pay me back, which could be the case, right? Um, that's fine. But I am the bigger person here, forgiving you because, and it's not about the ego or feeling great about it. It's about joining all the dots before we leave from here. One thing is certain, we are all going to check out at some point or the other, right? This is not Hotel California. You can check in any time, but you can never leave. We have to leave at some point, and
Mm.
it's always great to have closures before you go. And imagine the other side of the story of the sister who's wondering, why didn't my sister talk to me for so many years? Couldn't she understand the fact that I was unable to pay her back with my limitations? You know, maybe that was
Mm.
the case. We'll never know. But the fact is, both of them did not get closure. You know, there is a lovely poet by the name of Maya Angelou. I don't know whether you've read her.
Mm.
She says, bitterness is like cancer. It eats upon the host.
Mm.
So closures when we don't get, it's often related to bitterness. The stories that we make up in our head. And that bitterness keeps eating us up. So holding on to pain doesn't punish the other person. We are thinking, oh, I'm not going to talk to my sister. She deserves it. But who's suffering? Who's suffering?
Yes.
You are. You are, because at some part of your heart, you still love your sister, right? That grandmother would have loved her sister in some tiny bit of her heart. But her ego said, no, I am not going to forgive her. So similarly, whatever baggage that you've been carrying around for 20 years, Sunita ji, you have to come to terms with it and try and let it go. I'm not saying drop it overnight. It's not going to happen. It's impossible that you've been carrying this amount of baggage behind you on your back for 20 years. It has only grown piece by piece, right? So you have to take a bit of time to let go, one piece at a time, but you have to let it go. Or you're going to be forever like the hunchback of Notre Dame. You're going to walk around with a hunchback of pain, regret, bitterness, right? Next, the closure
Mm.
frees us to live our remaining days. Imagine if the grandmother had closed off that. She would have died happily, as two
Mm.
sisters loving each other, you know. Um, so how do we do that? How do we get emotional closure? We step one of the steps is to reflect with empathy. How do we find closure? The first step is reflection, but not the kind where we are pointing fingers कि तूने बोला है, तुमने किया है, ये गलती तुम्हारा है. No, reflection with empathy. Put yourself in their shoes. Now, I don't know who you have, who with whom you need the emotional closure. So, I mean, you don't need to share it with me.
Mm.
Think about that person in your head as I am talking to you, and put yourself in their shoes, right? The person I am assuming is or was very, very close to you.
Mm.
Yeah. And are you still on talking terms with this person?
Yes.
You are talking terms, but somewhere you hold a grudge.
Yep.
Okay. And whatever the reason may be, maybe that person was wrong. Absolutely could be. Maybe you were wrong. Maybe you jumped to conclusion. I don't know what the story is. Only you know what the story is, right?
Mm.
So play it out in your head, and I would say put yourself in their shoes, however stinky the shoes may be, right? How much ever toe jam they might have, but put yourself in their shoes, okay? It could be
Mm.
anybody. And think, what might they be feeling? What are they feeling because of this? Do they know? Are they aware that you hold a grudge? Have you been behaving strangely with them? Have you been standoffish? Have you treated them rudely? Have they treated you rudely? Think of what they must be feeling and what struggles might they have faced that you didn't see. Whatever that incident was,
Hmm.
like a detective, examine everything around it. Why they said or did what they did, right? Why did they behave the way they did? Did they say something to you? Why? What is the history leading up to that? Examine that. Put yourself in their shoes. You know, Victor Hugo, uh, in his book, said that to understand all is to forgive all. Right? Empathy doesn't empathy doesn't excuse hurtful action. I'm not saying that you are a saintly figure who has forgiven and forgotten and all of that. Right? What empathy does is it helps us to see the bigger picture. There was a mother who hadn't spoken to her son in 15 years after a very bitter argument over his life choices. At 78, she sat down and wrote out his possible perspective, his fears, his pressures. And she realized that he wasn't rejecting her. He was fighting his own battles. And he was lost
Hmm.
fighting his own battles. And that shift in her heart opened the door that she thought was locked forever. Now,
Hmm.
empathy asks us to pause and feel what what they felt. It's not easy. It's not easy because the little voice will keep on saying, stop being nice to that person. She did this to you. Why you're thinking like that? So it is always that little irritating voice that will keep, trying to talk to you and make you see the other side. But you're bigger than that. So it's not going to be easy, but it's the first step towards getting closure. The second step is to express what needs to be said, but you have to say it with compassion. This doesn't always mean a face-to-face talk. Sometimes even a letter. It's a letter that you never send, right? Or a quiet moment at a grave. The key is to speak your truth without blame. I recall a story about a neighbor of mine who once helped a grieving widow, find closure with her late husband. She was angry that he'd left her alone, but this man encouraged her to write him a letter. So her husband had passed on, but this man said, write a letter to your husband who's passed on, and in it say everything that you feel, and then end it with love. She did, and she wrote something to the effect of, I miss you, but I know you'd want me to be happy. Uh, and of course, she said that this is what you had done to me, and I wasn't happy about it. And she made peace. So she spoke to her dead husband all the unexpressed things that she couldn't say while he was alive. She wrote it down in the letter. The letter didn't change her past. It didn't erase the trauma or the experience that she had had in her past, but it changed her future. Because now she could live life happily without the baggage on her back. Compassion means speaking from love, not anger. If they're still here, a simple, I've been thinking about us and I'd like to make things right could be one of the steps, or being completely open. And when you meet the person, express yourself, don't hold it inside you anymore, and say, listen, this is what happened. This is what I interpreted it as. Maybe I was right, maybe I was wrong, but I would like us to move on and let go of all the grudges that we have so that we can be happy together as a friend or a relative or whoever it is, right? And that could be the first step towards healing. And it's not just
Mm.
healing the relationship, it's about healing yourself, right? Step three is to sort of forgive to free yourself. And that's the hardest step, forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't saying what happened was okay. No, it's saying, I won't let this pain, this regret, this experience, this bitterness control me anymore. The Bhagavad Gita in chapter 16, verse 1 teaches us about the divine quality of forgiveness. It says fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness in knowledge and yoga, alms giving, control of the senses, sacrifice, study of the scriptures, austerity. So these are the qualities of the divine. Forgiveness is listed among these sacred traits. A reminder that to forgive is to align with our highest self. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It's a decision to release the prisoner and realizing the prisoner was you. And these are words by Desmond Tutu. It's beautiful. It says, forgiveness is not forgetting. It's a decision to release the prisoner and realizing that the prisoner was you. So you've got to forgive yourself. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. Maybe you'll never be able to express yourself with, to the person, right? But you have to forgive yourself. So if you can't speak to that person, write that letter and unburden yourself. And then from next day onwards, try and be as normal with the other person as much as you can. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Sometimes it's just letting go so that you can breathe again. You know, you can start writing a journal, for example. Write your feelings raw, unfiltered. It's a safe space to untangle your thoughts, right? Um, there's you could meditation is another way of doing it, because meditation is finding more about yourself. It's an inward journey. Share your story with a trusted friend or group or husband. Healing happens in connection. So does your husband know about this grudge that you've been holding?
No.
No. And you haven't told him because?
It's too personal.
Okay. And the husband knows that person.
Yes, yes. Knows that person.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe you could try, but I mean, I'm leaving that to your own jurisdiction and understanding. Uh, all of these
Yeah.
things, then these small acts. If you think your life, your heart is like the garden, these small acts water the garden and helping peace to grow once where pain was living. You know, time now, of course, when we are all seniors, time moves very differently now. Days feel shorter, yet memories stretch long. You know, that's why closure matters now more than ever. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Okay, I'll wait, and you know, once that person tells me sorry, then I will tell sorry. There's never a perfect moment, and it's about you. Do you want to keep living with regret or burden or the poison that you're harvesting inside your body? Or would you want to just let it go and be free, right? So don't wait for the perfect moment to forgive or reach out. It might not come. It might not come. The purpose of our lives is to be happy.
Mm.
Closure paves the way for that happiness. Just imagine, just imagine a situation where you've come to peace with with that person. You've had closure. You've expressed whatever you wanted to express. Imagine what the situation is. Is it a much happier situation for yourself?
Yes.
Will it be? It is, right? And does this closure also then affect the relationship you have with this person? And now, is it a much happier relationship?
Yes.
So, see, the answers are very simple.
Mm.
We as humans to make it complicated, right? We attach stories to it and we attach lots of meaning to it, where may not be. I'm not saying that it can't, but I'm just may not be. You know. Um, so we are at this beautiful stage of life. So let's choose closure. Reflect with empathy, express with compassion, forgive to free yourself. You know, a few months ago, I called and who I haven't spoken to in a long time, a friend, and who I sort of had an issue with, and I just called out of the blue. I just felt like making that call. I called that person and I said, "Hey, I know you haven't heard from me for a while, but I was thinking about you." And he said, "Hey, listen, I've been also thinking, blah blah blah." We talked for hours. You know, it wasn't
Mm.
perfect, but
Yeah.
it was enough. But it was enough for us to come back and make that connection again, right? So I would urge you to take that step today towards emotional closure. Tie those loose ends up, and your heart will thank you, right? So I want to thank you for joining us today
Thank you
on
so
this
much.
session, and I hope you see some light at the end of the tunnel, and I hope you will take the positive steps toward finding emotional closure with whoever it is that you are. And
Yeah.
for others who want to enjoy these live sessions that we have on Genesis Live, which is our app, you can download the app and you can you know subscribe to it. Genesis Life is an online and offline platform for today's 60 plus, where we live life bindas. You can WhatsApp me on 8828816060 to share anything on the topic that we've discussed today, which is emotional closure. Or if you have any questions for me, you can watch this live telecast on our YouTube channel. And we recommend getting your dose of motivation every Friday. So I'm going to see you next Friday again. And till then, stay blessed, stay happy. Uh, and yeah, I will see you next
Thank you.
Friday.
Thank you so
Goodbye.
much. Bye bye.